Hello again, and welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is Jesse, and I am doing something really different this time. I think this is going to be another video in the Growing Up Illegally Cited series, because that is a playlist where I answer people's questions, give a little background about myself, and all those different types of things. I've had people ask me, how do I do a lot of different things? If you are blind or visually impaired, how did you get into being an assistive technology specialist? How did you get into game accessibility, tech accessibility? How did you get into doing a YouTube channel or streaming when I was doing that for a while? Um, all of those different questions I have answered in previous videos to some degree. But what I wanted to do this time, I was actually kind of inspired I was reviewing some comments in a to a post that I had made in someone else's YouTube video. There was a guy who was doing a really cool, like a description of a comic book. It was The Last Ronin, the TMNT Last Ronin series, which I really do hope comes to other media. I think I know there's a game in development that I really would love to see some footage of once that comes available. If that turns into like an animated series or cartoon or what have you. Um, but I had left. He did a really, really good job of like describing the comic book, the story, the arc, and kind of just going through the sequence of events where, oh, okay, I kind of got to understand the story. And I had posted a comment saying, hey, I really liked your video. You did a great job describing what was happening, and I kind of got to get a gist of what this whole Last Ronin series was about better. And I had said that I'm legally blind, and so I have traditionally had trouble reading comic books. And I saw in my YouTube notifications this morning, I woke up bright and early because I fell asleep early last night. And so I'm, wide awake here. And I'm like, well, let's check YouTube. And someone had asked me a question replying to that thread that I had commented on. And I went to that thread and I saw all kinds of replies, some genuinely curious, some informative, some snarky, some, I don't know if I would say rude, but like the whole spectrum. When you say that you have a disability and God forbid you use technology, be it a smartphone or a computer or what have you, you get just this range of response, even to the degree of there was a couple comments in there of, oh, you aren't disabled, obviously, because you're creating videos and you're playing video games on your channel. Well, I will definitely disagree with you on that. So, what I want to do in today's video, just kick back, grab a drink, grab some munchies or whatever, and I am going to kind of give you a blindness slash legal blindness and technology 101 video, um, because I want to kind of give a summary of how I do things, and answer a lot of questions that people have. Like if I post a random comment on Twitter or a YouTube video or wherever, I want to be able to answer some of those questions and just refer them to this video. Like, hey, this is a little long, but watch this. It should answer all of your questions and more, hopefully. So, yeah, my name is Jesse. I have been legally blind or illegally sighted, yes, all my life. And the reason that comes up is because legally blind does not mean you can't see at all. It means that you have a limited amount of vision that meets certain legal requirements to receive services, at least in the United States. So your vision has to be under a certain acuity, or it has to be a certain restricted field of view. And I just want to check something on my phone here real quick. Okay, good.
Voiceover on.
There we go. So I'll get to that in a minute, because you probably did hear that the way I have this set up. So yeah, that is my, like I said, I have been legally blind all my life. I have some usable vision. I can see some, like with, I can use magnification or read large print, but oftentimes I find it just much faster and easier to read using text to speech, or audio, human narrated audiobooks, whatever works. So I use a combination of assistive technologies to do that. And I'm not going to go into a lot of the whole background on legal blindness or my vision, because like really what I want to do here is I want to explain to people how someone who is low vision or even totally blind can use a lot of different types of technology, be it a computer, a smartphone, a tablet, even a game console, your Xbox Series consoles, your PlayStation 5s. Well, Switch doesn't really have a lot of accessibility other than the zoom feature, which I do appreciate, but I hope the Switch 2, when it finally gets officially announced, I hope to God they finally include some accessibility, because that would be very, very much appreciated by many people, including myself. But yeah, like I said, this might kind of go all over the place, but like I said, I kind of want this to be a blindness and low vision technology 101 video. I just want to show people all in one place. I've got a whole bunch of things queued up on my computer here. I just have the camera app open so you're able to see some of my devices and such. I mean, there's really only one device I really want to show you physically. Otherwise, stuff I can just show you on the computer itself. So, the cool thing about accessibility is that a lot of your modern mainstream devices already have a lot of accessibility features built into them. And it's really funny because I'll see these videos or articles online. Oh, 10 secret things you didn't know about your iPhone, or here's 10 things you didn't know that you could do with your Xbox, or whatever device it is. And a lot of them often boil down to accessibility features. There's a lot of times where accessibility is like, well, yeah, people just don't look there. And the other reason you're probably going to hear me occasionally touch my touchscreen on my phone here and you hear voiceover is because my headset, for some reason, loves to turn itself off after, even if I'm recording, even if I'm using my microphone, if it doesn't hear audio coming to it, it tends to turn itself off in the middle of a recording, and that sucks. So we're going to try to prevent that. So there's two, well, there's a few different types of technologies, but really there's three different really main technologies that a blind and low vision person would use: a screen reader, a screen magnifier, and a refreshable braille display. Now they also have braille embossers, which instead of printing out print, they emboss braille onto thicker braille paper. I do not have one of those. I don't really need one of those. And a lot of people, as I said in one of the comments in that thread, is that, I mean, hard copy braille on paper is absolutely useful in some cases. But the problem with braille is that it takes up a lot of room, because the braille cells, like, there's 6 dots to a cell. Braille dots are larger than print text. I mean, your average print text. And like, let's take an average textbook. You got 300-400 pages. You got this thick textbook that you might have for a class. Well, your same, depending on the book and the complexity, your same braille textbook might be 3, 4, 7, 8 volumes, depending on how much is in there. And so you literally have boxes of books that, like, if you're in school, you'd be like, oh, okay, well, I got to go to my little room here and grab volume 3 to go to chapter 7, you know. And so, like I said, there are times where physical reading Braille is preferred, or it makes things a lot easier, especially where there's spatial information needed, like like tactile graphs, or even, you know, the spatial, like for algebra equations, or, you know, math and science especially, are much easier in physical Braille. But what a lot of people are actually doing,
Shopping folder.
there we go, whoops. A lot of people are doing is there are devices called refreshable Braille displays. And if I open this little thingy up, it's got a little lens, or it's got a little cover on it here. Now this is a 20 cell display. I'm going to try to get, let's see. So I'll hold this up in front of my face here. So when you enter dots, you're actually typing, like, you know, you hit the multiple keys down. I'm not, this isn't a Braille lesson. You know, but you can type Braille, you can input Braille, but you can also input commands. So you can connect this device to a computer. You can connect this device to a smartphone. So either via USB or Bluetooth, you can connect it to any of those different types of things. Now you see here on the bottom, you've got these little, I don't know how easy it is to see, but you have these little pins. And each one of these, now you have 8 instead of 6. And the reason they do that is you have the 6 dots for each Braille character, or Braille letter, Braille cell. But then you also have 2 dots below it, which also often represent, like, cursor. So think about when you're typing in a document or an email, you have your, most of the time the cursor is a little vertical blinking line, but I remember back in the DOS days where it was like you would have a little underline under your character. You would have a cursor under the letter that you were typing or interacting with. You don't see that too much anymore these days. But that's so you can kind of tell, you have the full Braille cell, but then you can tell other things like, oh, this is the active cell. And then above these are routing keys. So, like, let's say I was reading something in a document. Oh, I made a typo partway through this line. I could click this button and it would pop the cursor right to that particular cell. And then I could, you know, start backspacing or overwriting. You know, I could start editing from that point on. So that is a refreshable Braille display. There are 20 cell displays that are more portable, like this one. You know, it's got a little lanyard, so I could literally, you know, hang it around my neck, and if I wanted to, I could just carry this, and it has some storage built onto it, so you can read, you can just copy Word documents, other different types of Braille files, and just read a book, read a Word document, read your notes, whatever. You could just read it on the device, and then you also can connect it to, as I said, a computer or a smartphone or tablet, whatever, and be able to read Braille that way. Now, also, not every blind or visually impaired person knows Braille. In fact, unfortunately, a lot of them don't. You have some people who may have, who may not physically be able to, because maybe due to things like diabetic retinopathy, where you also have, oh, I just went stupid. What's the word I'm looking for? You basically, you lose feeling in your fingers. That's one of the kind of side effects that can happen. Neuropathy. There we go. So, you know, they may not be able to physically feel. They can feel maybe with the dots, but their neuropathy doesn't let them feel, like, the subtlety of the different shapes of the dot patterns. So some people are just physically unable to read it. And unfortunately, some people are just never taught they're not given the resources, and they were never really taught Braille. I did not learn Braille personally until I didn't start learning it until seventh grade.
Social AI.
There we go. So the reason that, like I said, I can read Braille and I'm glad I know it, but I don't, I've never read it very quickly. I can type it pretty quickly, although not as quick as I used to, because I used to type it a lot more than I do these days. Um, because like I said, you're literally taking your six dots as you saw on that Braille display, and you're typing the different patterns. Dot one, two, three, four, five, six. You're the different patterns to type every character and letter and number and punctuation and things. So, but like I said, a lot of people just don't know Braille, or they just don't feel like, well, I have computers and I have audio and speech, and so I don't. They just either don't want to, or they were never taught it. And I think I argue that no matter what level of vision that you have, um, you should have some way to physically read text. Because if you just listen to things audibly, there are things that you don't pick up on. There, and there. So if I have THERE, THEY THEIR, you don't know. If all you do is listen, you're not gonna be able to type. Even if you type on a keyboard, regular QWERTY keyboard, your spelling is gonna suck because you don't know how to read physically. So if you're low vision, if you can see well enough, it's a good idea to use print. If you are if you use a combination of large print and Braille, or if you are totally blind, it's not a bad idea. It's really helpful to learn Braille because there's been statistics shown to say that like a major factor in successful employment, a blind person getting a job, you're much more likely to get a job if you know Braille and you can read and write and you can, communicate coherently. And like I said, I get people even in the comments that I was talking about earlier. How is this person? How are you even replying? And people are saying, well, speech to text. Yes, I do use speech to text from time to time, but I use the on-screen keyboard on my phone. I can type on a keyboard, regular keyboard, perfectly fine. One of the things I work with blind and visually impaired people in my day job, and one of the things I always say is, even if you're fully sighted, you don't have a disability at all. When you learn to touch type, you're not supposed to look at the keys anyway. It slows you down. Like you should be learning. Like when I was back in my day, we had typing classes in high school or computer classes in high school. One of the things that they did with you is you would learn to type. And I don't know if or how much they do that these days. Do they just assume that you know how to type, or you're gonna learn it somehow organically, or what? I don't know. Um, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so like, no, I can use any technology just like anybody else. I just need some assistive technology to be able to use it better. So I talked a little bit about Braille. I talked about people knowing it, not knowing it, how I use it. I will use Braille from time to time. I primarily rely on speech and magnification, but when I do get Braille things, or there are a few times where I really find it really helpful, and even, I go to a large building and I need to use an elevator. I can just feel the dots on the elevator um, to know what floor I'm going to, instead of trying to see the numbers or letters by the buttons. Labeling can be another really helpful thing. So even if somebody doesn't use Braille a lot, um, it can be helpful to learn the basics so they can do things like labeling things around their home. You've got different containers. Maybe you label different things. There's, labeling clothing. There's all kinds of uses for it. But that is Braille. So now we're going to get into smartphones, computers, and all that stuff. So what I'm going to do is I am going to switch to my phone, and I need, actually, let's do this. Let's, I have too many things open. Right, okay. So, um, I have my phone, and if I scooch on over here, I'll try to be that way. I can, there. So it's just the opposite of what I would think it would be. So I have my phone mirrored to my computer right now, and I am holding the phone up here. So I've got my phone. I got the shiny new 16 Pro Max here, and yeah. So I use VoiceOver, and if I touch something on the
11
screen,
reader. Recently updated. Music folder. 7 apps. Blindness folder. 33 apps. Double tap to
so
open.
I have literally hundreds of apps on my phone. So people say, how do you use a smartphone, or um, how are you even reading these posts? Are you having somebody do it for you? Are you having somebody write something for you? No, I'm not. I do it myself. As a matter of fact, like I said, not only do a lot of these devices have accessibility features built into them, but if you know the right keyboard command, or button sequence, or what have you, you can turn these accessibility features on out of the box. So an Android phone, an iPhone, an Xbox, a PC or Mac, you can turn all of these things on. Um, you can turn all of them on by yourself. You don't even need sighted assistance. So when you get an iPhone out of the box, or an iPad, you got your little side button there, your lock button. You just hit that 3 times,
Voiceover off.
and when you even before you do setup, the first time you do, you'll get a little pop-up. It'll say, "Oh, you've turned on VoiceOver." Blah blah. It gives you a little introduction on how to use it, and you say, "Do you want to do this?" You say yes, and then boom, you can start setting up your phone, going through your Apple ID and your language and your all the other things that you normally have to set up. You can do that perfectly accessibly. So I can turn VoiceOver back on.
Voiceover on. Blindness folder. 33.
And again, because I am low vision, I use VoiceOver a lot to have things read aloud. But there are things that I do on my phone visually. I watch videos. I play some visual games that I can see well enough to play. And so that's why you can set up the shortcut key, or you can set up your triple click, used to be your home button, but your side button, your lock button, you can set that to be whatever you want it to be. Do you want that to be to turn on the full magnification? Do you want it to be VoiceOver? Do you want it to be high contrast, or something related to hearing accessibility, whatever, motor accessibility, anything? There's a ton. I mean, again, go to your Windows device, your Mac, go to your iPhone, your Android, go to the settings, go to your settings app, and you'll find accessibility listed there. And just look under the accessibility category, and you're going to find a ton of stuff. And you don't even have to be blind or visually impaired or deaf, or things like that, to even use some of this stuff. Sometimes you just maybe want the text to be a little bigger. Sometimes you might want a little extra enhancement to your cursor, or sometimes you just might want to, select some text and have it read aloud. Any of these things can happen. So people just, I don't know, they just, oh, well, it says accessibility, so I'm just going to ignore that because I'm not blind, or I'm not deaf, or I'm not whatever. So, here's a quick 101. If I touch something,
Movie music folder. Line S folder. 33
I
apps.
can slide my
Double tap to
finger
open.
all around the screen.
Movies folder. Music folder. Books folder. Productivity folder.
If
21
I
apps.
want to open
Books
something,
folder. 21 apps.
I
Opening
double
books
tap,
folder. Books. Heading.
and then I can.
Bard mobile. Voice dream reader. Bard mobile. Kindle.
So
Double
if I
tap to
want
open.
to use any of these things, I just double tap and it'll open them. And like I said, I can use Kindle, I can use Audible, I can use any number of mainstream reading sites, or services. So I read books a lot. I read all constantly. Um, and that's how. And the other thing that's cool about iOS or mobile in general, Android as well, because I have some usable vision, I can see that icons are on my screen, but I can't read the text under them. I can see that there's an icon there, but I can't read the text under it. So all I have to do is touch it.
Bard mobile. Double tap to open. Learning Ally audiobooks. Cacti. Double tap to open.
So there we go.
Closing books folder.
And if I go to like a Twitter or a website or an email, how much email do I got?
Doc. Mail. One unread email.
Okay, I've
Double
got
tap to
one.
open.
It's because it has the little one icon on that I can't read. So I touch the email icon. It says I got one email. So just to show you, I'm gonna open up my app switcher here.
Apps. YouTube. Active. YouTube. Active.
Here is the thread, and I just want to show you some of these comments because to give you a perspective of some of the things that people say, but also this will perfectly show you how I can interact and use do a comment or like a comment or whatever. So if I touch, again, I can see where something is, but again, if I couldn't see, all I would have to do is touch, like I could touch randomly near the top of the screen.
Replies. Heading.
And I could take one finger and flick to the right.
Selected. Search. Button. More actions. Screenshot. Sign. Comment on TMNT. The Last Ronin. Full so at illegally cited. Bullet. 2 I go.
So all I have to do is flick to the right and it'll go through sequentially. Flick to the left, sequentially back. So even a totally blind person, every piece of this touchscreen feels exactly the same. There's no tactile markings anywhere. The iPhone and Android now are very accessible. And a matter of fact, with some of the apps that they can do, you can do some crazy stuff, which I will probably give you a sneak peek at in a little bit. So let's hear my comment.
At illegally cited. Bullet. 2 I go. As a legally blind viewer, I find standard comic books to not be the most accessible. I always wanted to read the series though, and found your channel through this video. Excellent story and fantastic narration. Well done. 2K likes. Add a reply. Ellipsis.
So
Actions
boom,
available.
it tells me the comment. It tells me it's got how many views, how many likes it's got. And then I can just continue. I can go through and look at the comments below. And also, if you look in, no, I don't think it's in this playlist. There's a playlist called Accessible AI or Accessibility AI on my channel. And one of the videos is an app that I will give you a sneak peek of called Be My Eyes. And it's got a feature called Be My AI. And this happened after I made this comment on this video. Within the last year, this app came out. And this summer, a Windows version of it also came out. And there's a video that I did where I was opening a webcomic in my PC web browser. And I used Be My Eyes, and it snapped a picture of it, and it literally can describe the comic book to you, the comic book page to you, almost like it's, narrating you the story. So go ahead and check out that accessibility AI playlist, because like I said, with people complain, I know we're getting sidetracked, but there's so much to talk about, you guys. There's so much to talk about. Everybody, AI, on one hand, AI is the hot button thing right now. Everybody's talking about it. Everyone's like, oh, we got to do AI. We got to do AI. And then you have another group of people that are like, I hate AI. AI is horrible. Get it the heck out of here. It's pointless. And I always say it's just like any other tool. It can be used for good. It can be used for evil. There are definitely concerns with it. Absolutely. Privacy, security, accuracy, all those different types of things. Yeah, they're a thing. However, um, one of the most practical AI uses I've seen and used and do use regularly is to use your phone's camera or even using your computer to have something described aloud. Like literally, I could take a picture of something, I could take a picture of my room and I could have it described in detail and ask follow-up questions. We'll get to that in a little bit. But let's go ahead and
Eddie and Maury 9550, bullet, 2 I go. How are you writing this, dog? 58
how am I
legs.
writing this?
Actions
Well,
available.
on my iPhone. Now if I wanted to,
Like this reply along, dislike this reply, button. Text field is editing. Eddie W. W.
well,
Delete.
let's do
W.
this.
Eddie shift. Cap E. Cap W. Cap double I. T. T. H. H. Space. With M. M. Y. Y. Space. My. U. I. Shift. Cap P. Cap P. G. H. H. O. O. N. N. E. E. No. Period. Period. iPhone. Eddie and send comments. Button. Send comments. Back. Button.
Done.
Reply added.
So I just replied to that post. I read it. I replied to it. And you see how, I would be typing and there, it would say a letter that was wrong. And that would be, all I did is I slid my finger over to another key and I did it. So yeah, there's no, like I said, it's very easy to do.
Add illegally cited bullet, 2 I go. Eddie and Maury 9550 on an iPhone keyboard and voiceover. Blind and low vision people can
Oh,
add
let's see.
2451 bullet, 2 I go. Edited. Eddie and Maury 9550 speech to text is the most obvious answer, dog. 175 legs.
So
Actions
yes,
available.
you can use speech to text. I do use it from time to time, just to save time, especially on a phone.
Add illegally cited bullet, 2 I go. Eddie and Maury 9550 on an iPhone keyboard and voiceover. Blind and low vision people can easily use computers and smartphones these days. 165 legs. Actions available.
Right, so that was a reply that I posted ages ago. Let's go ahead and scroll
Page
down.
4, at Dear Nano, bullet, 2 I go. So light since you're blind, what do you think the Ronin looks like? 27 legs. At TAGALAMANATHOKO 8274, bullet, 2 I go. Legally, 3 question marks, 8 legs.
So to answer the first question, and somebody else mentions it later on in the comments, legally blind does not mean totally blind. Yes, there are a fair few people who are totally blind, but also a lot of people, I would say there's a good majority of people who are legally blind, who meet that definition, who have some usable vision. It could be loss of their central vision, peripheral vision. It could be they have blind spots. It could be even maybe they don't really have enough functional vision to really be able to see much of anything, but they may be able to see shadows, or they may be able to perceive light, light perception, shadows. They may be able to see vague colors, but they can't make out any detail. So there's a whole range, a whole spectrum. So
At account, at Titty's More Player, bullet, 2 I go. Edited, at TAGALAMANATHOKO 8274. Yes, basically certifiable blindness as determined by a physician in the same way with my right.
And I should touch on, I forgot to mention this when I was talking about legal blindness. The whole illegally sighted thing, because there's a lot of comments in here. Can you be illegally, or can you be legally, or illegally, or I forget what they say, but the whole illegally sighted thing. I totally, as I've explained in this video, I know what legal blindness means, and it's just a term that you become very familiar with. But I do find it a little bizarre. I'm legally blind, and I was trying to think of a handle. What is going to be my calling card? Or what if I do a YouTube channel? I hate coming up with names for things. So I said, I started using the term just as a joke in real life. I would say that I'm illegally sighted, because every time you have, like, if you walk up to somebody and the first thing you notice is they have a vision impairment, if people walk up to me and the first thing they say is, "Oh, what is your vision like? Can you tell me about your vision?" And it got old, you know. I mean, I don't have a problem answering people's questions. I have no problem with that. But at the same time, it got boring going, well, my vision, I can see this and I can't see that, and blah, 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 you know. I, so I kind of had this little, you know, snarky way of introducing it to say, I'm illegally sighted. And you would just get this kind of pause. You could even tell audibly, you kind of get this hesitation, and then you can kind of just hear them working it out in their head or see their expression just going, oh, okay, okay, fair enough. And so I said, you know, I started my YouTube channel back in 2012, and that's what I called it, because I kind of liked that weird twist on the term legally blind. It stuck. It's made it very memorable. I've had many people tell me they love the name. They get a kick out of the you know, almost the kind of the parody nature of it. So yeah, that is where illegally sighted come from. That's what that means, is related to legal blindness.
At Mr. October 1990, bullet, page 3 of at
Let's see what other comments we
m.lester2441,
have.
bullet, 2 I go, at 3 per 2451, how did bro use grammar? 3 legs.
How did bro use grammar? I'm not stupid. Like, you know, again, there's this misconception of blindness. You know, you go to a restaurant and somebody will ask the people that you're with, what will he have? Or they will address the other people you're with, or if you're with other people, or if you're alone, it's like they're uncomfortable talking to you, like, oh God, I'm going to catch blindness. No. As long as I have the right, you know, tools and technology, I can read, I can write, I can talk, I can record videos and play video games, and I can play drums and guitar and all kinds of stuff. Gee, I can dress myself and go to work. You know, I know it's a novel idea. I know it's I know it's surprising to some people, but like I said, I'm legally blind. I'm visually impaired. I'm not stupid. I mean, yeah, sometimes I feel stupid, but doesn't everybody sometimes? So I get, you know, those are some comments that I get that are just
Eddie Wagner 94, bullet, 2 I go, the name checks up, ellipsis, 3 legs.
the name checks
Actions
up,
available.
okay.
At Mobius underscore tail, bullet, 2 I go, at m.lester2 and 41, he used voiceover, 2 legs. At EFREQ.6465,
I'll just take a
bullet, 1
look
I go,
here.
at Ian Moy 9550, being blind doesn't mean that you completely can't see. Look up the different types of blindnesses, 5 legs.
Yay,
Actions
you get
available.
a gold star. You get a gold star. Good job, dude.
Page 10 of 5 at the Mop Homie, bullet, 1 I go. I didn't know that you can use speech to text in the comment section, and I am using it right now. Damn, this is pretty accurate, but still, how the hell did you know which button to press to use this feature? 3 legs. Actions
And
available.
again, I just showed you, I showed the how to use voiceover. You either flick or you kind of drag your finger around the screen, and you develop a muscle memory. You know where the keyboard is always going to be at the bottom of your screen. You know that the dictation button is going to be in the far bottom right corner. So you just get your finger roughly in that area and you find it, and then you double tap it, or you do whatever you need to do. That goes for the keyboard. That goes for wherever your icons are on the home screen. If you use a favorite app, it's really actually very, very I mean, when the iPhone came out, I was skeptical, just like everyone else. Like, how in the hell are they going to make an all touchscreen device accessible to a blind person? Well, we're going to be left behind again. And the first couple versions of the iPhone did not have voiceover. So no, we couldn't use it. But starting with the 3GS, I believe it was, they put voiceover in. I didn't get into the iPhone until the iPhone 4S. I actually got an iPad 2 was my first iOS device, because I thought, well, it's got a larger screen. It'll be good for low vision and blindness. And I got hooked on the iPad, so I said, well, dang it, I want internet everywhere, so I guess I'm getting an iPhone. And Android also has it's a little bit different. It has a feature called TalkBack, but it also behaves very similarly. So I'm just going to look at some of the longer comments here.
TBS S8558, bullet, 1 way ago. I'm illegally blind, so I have to secretly read shit. Almost got caught once by a deaf guy. 8 legs.
Okay, I don't get that,
Page
but
5
whatever.
at LUPINII 1009, bullet, 1 way ago. How do you like The Last Ronin? Me personally, I think that is the greatest comic book series ever.
I think it's
Two legs.
cool. I would love to get more into this series.
H3592, bullet, 1 way ago, edited. At Tilly's player, I am the same with my right eye. I'm also blind. I have detached retina, so I'm classified as legally blind. Two
Yeah,
legs.
no problem.
Actions of at coachless, bullet, 1 way ago. At account hack 8028 in going to hell. This shouldn't have made me laugh this hard. 1 like. Actions available.
And that's the thing is that the whole anyone who takes themselves too seriously, whether it's disability, race, gender, you know, again, legally, you can see how seriously I take the term legal blindness. I mean, like I said, I get it, I understand it, but I poke fun at it. You know, I mean, I don't take myself seriously. I have a dark and twisted sense of humor. And I don't have a problem with that. You know, everybody gets offended so easily these days. And, you know, I can talk about my disability. I can talk about, and my life doesn't revolve around my disability. Yeah, sometimes being legally blind sucks. Sometimes, you know, I have to ask for help for things. But a lot of, like I said, I've lived on my own for over 20 years. I have a bachelor's degree. I have a master's degree. I've had full-time jobs. I have a full-time job. I do side consulting work. Um, I do the YouTube channel. I do all kinds of stuff. You know, I mean, I don't have one now, but I've had girlfriends. You know, it's not. I play the drums. I used to kind of pretend to try to learn to play guitar. Um, Blindness is just, you know, whether you're tall or short or black or white or whatever, it's just another part of who you are. Um, I don't know, like people just make such a big deal out of everything these days. You can't say this, you can't say that, or um, you know, I'm all about this. It's just weird. So, I mean, you get the idea. Like we got a few
Page
more
16 of 20.
comments
At Captain
here.
Rocco BT, bullet, 1 way ago, edited. At Ian95550, yes, it would be if you didn't have to press a button in order to do speech to text. Actions available. At
There
Captain
was a
Rocco
comment
BT,
I want to
bullet, 1 way ago,
find.
edited. At Tilly's player, legally blind and can't see a thing. Blind are 2 different things, my man. Actions available.
Right.
Page 7 of 8.
But there's a comment on here. They were like, "Oh, he has somebody do it for him." There was a comment like, "Oh, well, you can't be legally blind because you know, they looked at my channel and like, oh, because you record yourself playing video games." Well, no, I can do that as a legally blind user. It's not that tough. So that is how I
Blindness
use the
folder.
phone. Now, again, I had mentioned some apps here, and I am going to, there are apps that will, like, I can hold it over a piece of paper. I can move this out of the way here. And, you know, I've got a piece of paper here, a little flyer here. And there are apps. There's one called and most of these are free. You can get them on Android or iOS. So even if you don't have a disability, you want to play with them yourself, go to the App Store, go to the Play Store, download them for yourself, try them out. Um, you can, so there's a lot of ways that you can read, actually. The iPhone itself has a built-in magnifier. So I can bring down my control center
Control
here.
center. Airplane mode.
And I have
Switch
a
button.
magnifier button right down here.
Double tap and hold to expand.
Or with
Swipe up or down.
my new iPhone, I actually turn
Off
my
button.
camera control button. Instead of opening the camera app, it opens magnifier. And I've got my flyer here. I'm going to turn voiceover off. Come on.
Voiceover off.
There we go. I'll turn my flash on. And now I can pinch to zoom, and I've got a magnifier. Now, it won't rotate the screen when I turn it here, but I will normally do this in landscape. Excuse me, landscape, because it's easier to read. You know, so if I'm out somewhere, everyone carries their phone with them everywhere anyway. So I can just use I can use my phone as a very high quality video magnifier, or a CCTV, as they call it in the blindness low vision field. So that's one option. Or I can I'll turn voiceover back on.
Voiceover on. Blindness folder. Low vision folder. 12 apps. Opening low vision folder. Low vision. Heading.
And I
Double tap
can,
in over 40 plus.
oh
Double
wait,
tap
no,
to open.
what am I doing? I don't want low
Close
vision.
blindness folder.
I want
33
blindness
apps.
here. Let's
Opening
go in
seeing
there.
AI.
Let's
Double
go in
tap to
seeing
open.
AI. And as
Airplane
soon as
MIDI
it
Zoom.
sees text,
Let's get start. Our that you tree. Let's get start. Now that you read. Bullet W simple. 11 the health
Okay, let
partners
me.
plan. Representatives to set
So
yourself up for
this is
success.
meant for short
Or online
text. I'll explain that in a minute.
channel, short text document. Right edge not
Document.
visible. Bottom right corner not visible.
Okay.
Hold steady. Processing. Cancel button. Back button.
And now it's literally taken that picture and it's done OCR, optical character recognition, and I can touch up here.
Let's get started.
Now, again, I was doing this a little quickly. It's very accurate usually. It's let's get started, but
Now that you'll take a few simple.
okay, yeah.
Lead
So
and health
that
partners plan. Caps to set yourself up for success.
let
Heading
me
level
do
2.
it one
Menu,
more time.
button.
Let me.
Bottom right corner not visible. Right edge
Oh,
not
I
visible.
see, because the thing was blocking it. Okay,
Hold steady.
hold steady.
Cancel
I can
button.
do a better scan than that.
Back button. Let's get started. Heading level 1.
There you go.
Let's get started. Heading level 1. Now that you're enrolled in the Health Partners plan, take a few simple steps to set yourself up for success. Log on to your online account or use checkbox checked. Cap V checkbox checked.
So there's
Skip
some other weird stuff in here. I don't know why it will do that
button.
sometimes. There's other apps that'll
Seeing
do
AI.
it.
Double tap to open.
But like I said, there's a lot of different apps that I can take a picture and I can have something read aloud. This is great for, you get a handout in class or you want to read your mail, anything. Now, am I going to read a book that way? No, of course not. I'm going to go and get it digitally. I'm going to get it through Amazon or Kindle or Bookshare or any number of services, Audible. There's a few other services that you have to have a print related disability, like the National Library Service Talking Book Program. So there's a lot of different ways that I can read. But if I want to be able to read a regular paper document, even handwriting, there's a mode in that Seeing AI called handwriting mode, and I can recognize, as long as the person has relatively legible handwriting, it does a pretty good job with that. And I call Seeing AI a camera multi-tool because that's what it is. I can recognize text. If I have a product, I can recognize a product barcode. I can kind of hold my phone up, spin the object around in front of it, like a can of soup, let's say. Let's say I've got a can of chicken noodle, I've got a can of tomato soup, and I want to know which one is which. You can tell that way. It'll recognize the product. Once you recognize the product, oftentimes there'll be like a more info button, and you can get additional information on, like if it's a food item, you can get like nutrition information, cooking instructions. If it's a CD, if anyone uses those anymore, you might get the track listing. DVD or Blu-ray, you might get some of the info that's on the back of the case. So there's all kinds of things like that. And what I was talking about earlier with AI, there's another app called Be My Eyes. I mentioned it earlier, and I use the Windows version to read comic books. Let me show you what I can do on phone. So you're out somewhere and you have a question about something.
Be My Eyes beta.
Be My Eyes. Now I'm running a
Be My Eyes.
beta
Take
because I'm
picture
doing
button.
beta. Again, I do beta testing, so I've got my computer over here.
Take
I'm going to
picture
take a
button.
picture.
Take picture. Analyzing picture. Please wait. The image shows a computer setup in a room. There are 2 monitors on a wooden desk. The monitor on the right is displaying a video call or streaming session with a person wearing headphones. Next to it is a computer tower with a glass side panel and blue LED lights inside. On top of the tower, there is a plush toy with orange and white colors. Swipe up or down to select a custom action, then double tap to activate. On the left side of the desk, there is a TV or large monitor with some items in front of it, including a stack of video game cases and a game controller. A floor lamp is positioned behind the TV. The room appears to be dimly lit, with most of the light coming from the computer and monitors. Swipe up or down to select a custom action.
Look at that! Look at that amount of description. Look at that. I mean, that's crazy. And as I said, there's a little. I can go
Ask more button.
ask more.
Message text field is edit message text field.
It brings up my description, and then I could either on the keyboard I can type or I could dictate a question. So maybe there was something in there. I could say, oh, maybe it would say, oh, there was a poster on the wall, and I could say, oh, what does that poster say? So again, this is huge. This is all AI driven, and it opens up a huge amount of things for blind and visually impaired users. Now, the other thing that's really tying into this is wearables. Things like the Meta Ray-Ban glasses. I'm sure people have heard of them. I bought a pair of those earlier this year, and they are starting to partner up with Be My Eyes and other assistive technology related companies. And they, again, instead of having to hold up your phone, I could literally just be looking at something, and and this is cool. Like even using the Meta AI, I can just look at something and I can say, "Hey Meta, what is this?" Or "What am I holding?" Let's say I go to a store and I'm trying to discern between two different packages, like which flavor of whatever I'm holding, what is it? And it would tell me what the thing is, so I could do that all hands free without even needing to pull out my phone. I mean, that's huge for independence. Things that sighted people, fully non-disabled people take for granted. So that's another huge use of smartphones. AI, your camera. So like, why do blind people you need a camera? The camera has become just as valuable for blind and low vision users as it is for fully sighted users. So that is Be My Eyes. And again, I can
Be My
do,
Eyes, beta. Double tap to open, close it.
I can even go in
Home, page 1 of 3. Photography folder, 6 apps.
photography. Let's go
Opening
into my
photography photos.
photos,
Double tap.
and let's just go in
Photo, date,
and
November 14th, 2020. Photo, date,
let's
August.
describe this little
Photo, home.
guy.
Share, button.
So
Photo, date, August 6th. Add to shared album. Page 2, page 3 of share with eBay. Button. Search on Google. Describe with Be My Eyes. Button.
sure, let's do
Describe with
that.
photo, photo,
Now the
date.
description
Please
isn't
wait.
going to
Please
come
wait.
up.
Be My Eyes writing a message.
Let's see what it does. I'm
Be My
curious.
AI. The image shows Be My AI. The image shows a plush toy that resembles a character or creature. It has a round, red, fuzzy body with a single large green eye on top. The toy has a wide mouth with sharp white teeth and a dark interior, giving it a fierce expression. There are several brown, horn-like protrusions around its body. The plush toy is placed on a dark surface, possibly a seat or cushion.
Yep, it's in a black office chair, and that is my Cacodemon plushie that I got earlier this year. I saw they had it when I had to order the Daisy Rabbit head on a pike.
Photos.
When they announced that at QuakeCon earlier this year, and I'm like, well, oh, they got a Cacodemon plushie, I'll get that too. So yeah, that's my little Cacodemon. So you can use it to let's say you went on a vacation and you want to look back at your photos, and you don't have enough usable vision to really remember or can tell what each of the photos is. You can just share that to Be My Eyes and get a description like, oh, this is us standing in front of the whatever landmark it was or what have you. So there's tons, and people can use it in school. Let's say they need to understand a diagram, a chart, a graph. And again, being able to ask follow-up questions. So those are just some of the things that you can do on mobile. Like we could go on, for mobile, we could go on and on and on all day there. One thing that I didn't bring up also is I remember, so everything I've done so far is with speech, but as a low vision user, if I want to, I've set my action button on my iPhone, but you can also set the triple click, the side button, or you can even, there's back tap gestures where if I back tap 2 or 3 times on the back of my phone, I can enable certain things or stuff too. But I'm going to use my action button here. Actually, let me turn voiceover off.
Voiceover off.
And I'm going to hit the action button on my left side. And now I've turned the zoom on. Now that might be a little big. Let's go ahead and zoom that out a little bit. And so now I can use this in combination with voiceover if I wanted to as well. So I'll just hit the action button again. Goes back to normal. Boom. So I've got my side button for voiceover. I mean, this is the kind of cool thing about the 16 actually. So I've got my side button for voiceover. I've got my camera control button below here. I hit that and it opens my magnifier so I can look at things, not only pieces of paper, but I've used it to, like, as I'm walking down the street or down the sidewalk and I want to look at a marquee above a store. I want to look at a sign. It does really good for distance, so I can use it to do that. And then on my left side, I have my action button. I've got that mapped to my magnifier. So let's say that because again, like if I'm looking at a picture, voiceover isn't going to automatically read a picture. Let's say a lot of emails will come, they look like a flyer, and so it'll have like a picture of something. And I want to be able to read it, so I'll just turn the magnifier on, read what I need to, turn it back off again. So that is a look at iOS. And again, everything that I say about iOS is pretty much the same on Android. They do things a little bit differently. There's a little bit more, like, I would say iOS is a little bit more consistent. If you're looking for something a little bit easier to learn, a little bit more consistent, I would say iOS. You can tinker a bit more with Android, although they've really opened things up even in iOS the last version or two, where you're able to do a lot more configuration customization. So that is how a blind or low vision person would use a mobile device, a phone, a smartphone, or a tablet, and just some of the use cases that you could use for it. So I am going to get my ugly mug off of the camera here, and I'm going to put this on my charger. There we go. And I am going to go to my desktop here, my good old Cobra Kai desktop. Now we're going to look at Windows a little bit to wrap things up. So again, just like your mobile devices, there's accessibility features built into your Windows machine, your Mac. At any time, I can hit the Windows and plus. I've got magnifier. And now I just take my mouse, I move it around the screen. Oh, that's not big enough. Let me zoom that in a little bit. Okay? I'll read my start menu. That's way too big. Let me back off a little bit. So let me go ahead and go up here. So I've got, everything that I do. I go to my Chrome tab. There's my illegally cited. There's my YouTube channel that I was managing. I can control tab. There's my Steam thing. If I want to add a video to my Steam, okay, I'm back at there. Let's say I want to go to a new page. Let's say I want to look up, again, how do I use a computer? I can type Vikings.com. Yeah, Vikings is my team. They're doing freaking awesome this year. 4-0 so far. Yeah, I hope it stays that way. So again, I can turn it off at any time. I can, there's all my articles, my videos, turn magnifier back on again. Let me see. Those are videos. I'm just going to click on a random thing here. Oh, is that a video? Oh, yeah. So another thing that you can do, again, this is a very, very quick, brief overview. Let's say that I want to read this, but maybe I want to kick back and have it read aloud. Oh, wait, I'm actually in Chrome. Well, I'll explain that in a minute.
Eagan, Minnesota.
Yeah, so if I'm going to do this, I would use Edge because it doesn't work so well in Chrome. Well, let's go ahead and open up Chrome here, and let's go ahead and go to a website I know has a bunch of text. There we go. We'll go to AppleVis, a website that I check out fairly often. So let's say that I wanted to start reading at the beginning of this paragraph.
Also be sure to browse our iOS and iPadOS, Mac, Apple Watch, and Apple TV app directories, in which you will find information.
It reads it aloud, it follows along. I can stop it at any time if I don't care and I want to go down to a different paragraph. Let's see, we get some other paragraphs here. Here's a paragraph, let's read this.
iOS and iPadOS app directory by TunMy 13 usability rating. The app is...
So there you go. I mean, I can just, have it read aloud. Boom. So for somebody who doesn't want to have speech all the time, but they want to use magnification, but their eyes get tired at the end of the day, they can have something read aloud to them. Another thing, there's a free utility out there. It is called Dark Reader. And this is something, a lot of people, even if you don't have a disability, people love dark modes, dark themes. I love them. I don't like a lot of... I don't love a lot of the dark or the light, the bright white backgrounds. It's a little tiring on the eyes. So there's a free browser extension, and I can just, here's what the web page normally looks like. Not a big fan. Whole bunch of white. I mean, it's good contrast, but I'm not a big fan. So I'll hit the keyboard shortcut, turn that back on, and it just lives up in the upper part of your thing up here, up in your little menu bar, toolbar up here. I get the little dark reader, click on the dude there, and then boom, you got, you can turn it on and off. You got some contrast settings. I just usually leave that alone. But I mean, so that's how a low vision user could use Windows out of the box. Mac has something very similar. If I want to go to, if I want to install Dark Reader, all I got to do, darkreader.org, go here, click on whatever browser I want. Let's say I wanted Edge, and then it takes me to the little App Store thingy, and I already have it installed, so I'm not going to uninstall it, but you just click your Get button or whatever, you got a confirmation up here, boom, you got it. So that's how a low vision user would use their computer. So let's say that I'm totally blind. Oh, well, how can you type? You can't see. Well, let's open up a free program. There's a free program called NVDA. Okay, you heard that. Now, anything that I do...
Start window. Pinned list. Microsoft Edge 1 of Microsoft Store 7 of Photos 8 of 20 Settings 9 of 20 Microsoft 360 PowerPoint 4 of 21.
So let's say that I want
Microsoft Settings 9 of
let's
20.
go into settings actually.
Settings window.
So
Level 1 home 1 of system Bluetooth network personal apps not accounts not timeline gaming not accessibility not select accessibility selected.
So boom, remember when I said earlier, go to, like, open up whatever device you're using, Mac, PC, Windows, Android, iOS. You go under settings, whatever their settings app is, and you look under accessibility. Odds are there's an accessibility category.
Accessibility button 1 of 1 list. Vision grouping 1 of 3 level back button. List. Vision group level 2 text size 1 of 8. Visual effects 2 of 8 level, mouse pointer and touch 3 of 8 level 2.
So I can make my mouse pointer and my cursor bigger.
Text cursor 4 of 8 level 2.
So if I go to my start menu here,
start window, search window.
You see how it's got the little wedges up there. That makes it so instead of having to look at that little bar, you see the little wedges. It makes your cursor easier to see.
Magnifier 5 of 8 level 2.
And again, I can keep my magnifier on.
Color filter 6 of 8 level. Contrast theme 7 of 8 level 2. Narrator 8 of 8 level 2.
So, I can navigate Windows. I can write in Microsoft Office. I could close this.
Start window.
I can go into Word.
Word. Home group. Document. This is a depth of me using a computer. This is a person. C uses a display 2.
So I type it.
Hello, this is a demo of me using a computer with a screen reader. This is how a blind person uses a computer, and maybe also uses a braille display too.
All right, so there we go. I can edit.
Maybe also a braille a uses also maybe.
So let's get rid of maybe.
Also space e b a m.
Boom, there we go.
Blank.
If I want to do a list.
List. Bread. Milk. Butter. Cheese. E-S-E-E-E-H-C. Cheese.
So you heard the beep. That means I made a typo, and that's an immediate thing. Now you can also have it be like, oh, I can have it say every letter as I want, as I type it. That would drive me insane. But if you're new to a computer or just learning the keyboard, maybe that's what you do, and that's what you need. So you can customize the verbosity of, however you want to do it. So again, I've made a paragraph, I've made a list, I could save it if I wanted to. I'm not going to, but let me go ahead and...
New tab and one, Armory Core, recent searches.
Let's do...
Armory Core, recent...
Let's go to AppleViz here.
Collapse, loading, clickable banner, clickable main landmark, getting started, latest Apple posts and updates. Introducing Anytime podcast app and seeking voice over feedback link heading level 3. Naming people in photos link heading level 3.
Okay, let's say I want to hear about that.
Loading complete. Clickable main landmark naming people in photos heading level 1. By Brian, October 2nd, forum, iOS, how do I teach voiceover and iOS on iPhone 15 Pro to recognize people in photos? Do I somehow name one and then next time it sees a person it will name them?
I was actually wondering about that myself because it's something I've never bothered to do.
Heading level 2
Let's
options.
see what they say.
Comments heading level 2. Heading level 3 link naming people or pets. By Holger Fielo. Not sure how accessible are the steps but you can try it and if it works let me know so I can do so. There are 2 ways. See below. Find and name people and pets in photos on iPhone. The Photos app sorts photos and videos of people, dogs, and cats in the People Pets collection. Or the People collection if no pets appear. You can photo or the People collection if no pets appear. You can name a person, dog, or cat directly from a photo or video in your photo library, or in People Pets. Name a person or pet in a photo or video. When you name a person or pet in a photo or video, they're automatically added to People Pets and
Right, so how do I do it?
named in other photos and videos in your library. Go to the Photos app on your iPhone. Open a photo or video, then swipe up to see the details.
Okay.
People or pets in the photo or video appear in the bottom left corner. To those you haven't named, tap the person or pet with a question mark next to their picture, then tap name this person or name.
Okay, well, yeah, cool. So I was thinking about doing that actually because I have, a few people that I want to catalog in my photo library. So actually, that was a really timely thing. That actually helped me out because it was something I never really bothered to do. But you see how I don't even have magnification on. I'm not using the mouse. So when you're using a screen reader as a blind person, you don't necessarily know where your mouse is going to be because you can't see it. So instead you use keyboard commands to navigate a computer. And there are a lot of keyboard shortcuts that the user has to learn. So instead of going through everything sequentially in order, which on most web pages today would take forever because web pages are so complex, they use what they call quick navigation keys. So when I'm navigating a website, let's say, I can use letters to jump between different things on the web page. So a common thing that you might find on a website is headings. And on this website, each post is a new heading. So let's go ahead and see what the next poster says.
Not sure if this is possible by training link heading level 3. By Winter Roses on Wednesday, October 2nd,
Then I can just arrow down if I want to read that post.
I could be wrong. From what I remember, your device generally recognizes people and pets from your pictures, and then you can name them.
Or I could just do a command to read all, but let's say I don't want to read this one. Let's say I want to jump to the next one.
Winter Roses link heading level 3. Question link heading level 3. By Winter Roses on I understand the concept of giving each individual in your phone a name. What?
So this is how you could read a user forum. If I wanted to go to, let's say I wanted to go to bestbuy.com.
Collapsed. Best Buy official online store shop now saved. Still loading.
So let's say that I wanted to find.
Link skip to content. Block.
I wanted to search for something.
No next edit field.
Oh, you're going to be that way, really? Okay.
Button close. Alert. Permission request dismissed. Best Buy official banner landmark type
there
to
we
search.
Go.
Banner landmark.
So now I can hit enter on this search field and I can, let's say, RTX 4080.
Loading page. Best Buy official online store shop RTX 4080. Loading complete. Clickable main landmark. Categories filters heading level 2. Get it fast heading level. NVIDIA GeForce RTX 40 series. Clickable results heading level 2. Main results heading level 3. List with 19 items. Clickable ASUS TUF Gaming NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4080 Super Overclock 16GB GDDR6X
So let's say I wanted this one.
4.0 graphics card.
I could arrow down from here and let's see how much it costs.
Heading level 4 link. Black. Model. TUF RTX 4080 SO16G Gaming.
I have the 4070 version of this card in this computer right now.
SKU 657
There's a
4587.
SKU number.
Link rating 4.9 out of 5 star. Clickable pickup on Oct 9 at Button Roseville. Get it by tomorrow. Button collapsed 55,101. Free. Checkbox not checked. Clickable button save. Your price for this item is $1,099.99.
Spendy. So there's my price. Let's say that I wanted to copy this SKU
Link
number.
rating 4.9 SKU 657 458. Copied to clipboard.
So then I wanted to send that to somebody. I could open up an email or I could open up like Notepad.
And Notepad.
And there we go.
SKU 657.
Boom. So I'm doing everything with the keyboard. And the reason I'm showing you guys this is because, like I said, I get so many questions, not just on my YouTube channel, but like if I again, that Twitter thread or that YouTube comment thread, when I was showing you on my iPhone. Those are questions that I get. It's like, oh, well, how does a blind person even play a game? How do they use a computer? They can't use a phone. They can't do any of this stuff. Yeah, we can. And not only can you do it if you bother to take the time to learn your technology, learn your assistive technology, as I've demonstrated so far, you can be just as fast, if not faster, than a sighted person. You know, like your sighted person, they rely on their vision for everything. They got to take their mouse and they got to move around and click
SKU.
everything. What if I just wanted to open File Explorer?
This
Boom,
PC.
Windows E. Boom, I'm in File Explorer. I want to go to my flash drive.
New volume. Items view
Boom.
list.
There we go.
Items view list.
Oh, right, I don't have my flash drive in. That's right, never
New
mind.
volume.
So let's say I wanted to go to my...
Items
Let's
view
go to
list.
my games
4 of 8.
folder.
Items
Boom,
view.
I'm in my games folder.
Tobii Accessibility Mod V7257 of 10.
So there we go, Tobii Accessibility Mod. So again, all of the, like, I can get around my computer. I need to go back to my thing. Okay, boom, I'm back there.
Games.
I need to go back to my web page.
RTX.
There's my Best Buy page. So, you know, and I even use multiple desktops. So this is my personal desktop. If I'm doing work from home,
Desktop
I go
2.
to my second. Here's my, so I've got a browser tab up here. I was looking something up through work. And I have a Chrome tab. I can, what window am I in
Morphic
here?
makes computers easier to use. Google Chrome.
So there's a Google Chrome page. I can...
Clickable main landmark. Morphic makes... Heading level 2. What is Morphic? Morphic is a tiny app that makes computers easier to use by. List with 2 items. 1. One providing a toolbar that makes it easy to discover and use accessibility features built into computers.
So who knows? I might be doing a video on that at some point in the near future. But you see, like I said, this isn't a tutorial by any means, but again, this is a blind low vision technology 101. This is it's a long video, but for people who want to, and seriously want to understand not only how a blind or low vision person uses different pieces of technology, computers, phones, tablets, whatever. But I would argue even just to be taken seriously, as you saw in the comments, you know, oh, he has to have it done for him. Oh, he just uses dictation. You know, God forbid, he can't type. He can't see the letters on the keys. You don't have to. Even if you're sighted, you're not supposed to look at the damn keys. So we're kind of going to wrap things up here pretty quickly, but what I do want to end with is I'm recording this in early October 2024. And October, I've learned, is both Disability Employment Awareness Month. It is also World Blindness Awareness Month. So they kind of doubled up, I guess. And so I think both are equally important. You know, I said earlier in the video, my life doesn't revolve around my vision impairment. But it does, you know, it does affect pretty much most, if not all, aspects of my life to some degree. I've grown up with it all my life, so it doesn't really faze me anymore. It doesn't bother me anymore, but it is a thing. And I think that, let me...
Task view, running applications.
Oh wait,
unknown.
that's on my other desktop. Hang on.
Task view window. Running. OBS 3.0.2.3. Profile. Untitled. Scenes. Untitled. Channel content. SKU 6 games. RTX. Reflect. Camera. Show.
Oops, there we go. So I figure I'll go on the camera for this because I started out on the camera. So, like I said, blindness or low vision, my vision impairment does affect my life, but it doesn't, necessarily define me. Like I said, I live my life just like everybody else. I work, I play music, I go out and do stuff, I go to concerts, I what anything that everybody else does. And what I wanted to bring to people's attention, I wanted to have kind of even though yes, I know it's a longer video, I wanted to do an updated Technology 101 for people so that I can refer them to this video and say, hey, this is a brief introduction. I mean, there's way more technology that I didn't even talk about or cover at all. But there's so much technology. Like I always tell people, it's never been a better time to be blind or visually impaired. Technology doesn't solve every problem, but it certainly helps. It's blind. Like I said, it doesn't solve every problem, but it absolutely helps. And the amount of things, as you just saw in this video, I can read, I can recognize objects, I can use my phone, my computer. I didn't cover it in here, but I can, like, again, there is a screen reader built into your PlayStation 5. There's a screen reader built into your Xbox Series X or S. A lot of your set-top boxes and even smart TVs have a screen reader built in. The Apple TV, any number of these different types of devices are all starting to have some of this built-in accessibility features. So I hope that answers a lot of other people's questions. And if you are non-disabled, if you don't have a disability and you are watching this, I hope that this has kind of made you take people with disabilities a little bit more seriously. Like I said, we may have a disability. We're not incompetent. We're not dumb. We just might have to do things a little bit differently. But, we're not stupid. And a lot of the thing these days, I think, because we have all this technology and different things, I would argue that one of the biggest barriers is the how non-disabled people treat people with disabilities, be it just your average daily encounter, or especially in employment. I mentioned, again, let me grab my phone here just so I can make sure my headset doesn't go to sleep on me. Oh wait, do I have voiceover on here? Hang on.
Voiceover on. App Store. 9 updates.
There we go. But what I really want to end with is, as I said, it's people's perceptions and low expectation of people with disabilities that I would argue is one of the hugest barriers that we encounter. Yes, there are inaccessible websites. Yes, there are inaccessible devices or tools. But honestly, one of the biggest barriers is the assumptions and perceptions that people have, or stereotypes that maybe people have about people with disabilities. And I would argue the low expectations of people with disabilities. People treat us like we are one of two things. We are superhuman. Oh, you must be like Daredevil, like you can hear a pin drop from 4 blocks away. No, you can't. Now, do blind or visually impaired people have better hearing? Not necessarily. The main thing is they pay attention to their hearing. They use their other senses, their sense of hearing, smell, touch. They use their other senses. Again, I laugh because, let's say the power goes out and you get a whole group of sighted people. oh my God, there's no power. I can't see. I can't walk. Even in a place they've lived for years and years and years, I can't walk from my kitchen to my bedroom because I can't see. Oh no. Um, I mean, you should have like muscle memory, or I find it funny, like the telephone keypad hasn't changed since, well, whenever, I don't remember, I don't know um, when touch-tone phones first existed. Well, here's another piece of technology. Hey Google, when was the touch-tone phone invented?
November 18th, 1963.
Huh.
According to Wikipedia, on November 18th, 1963, the first electronic push-button system with touch-tone dialing was commercially offered by Bell Telephone to customers in the Pittsburgh area
Hey
towns of
Google,
Carnegie and Greenport,
stop.
Pennsylvania, after the DTMF.
There you go. You get whatever, there's your info, 1963. But the the keypad hasn't changed, and yet like people lose their vision and like, well, I need a large button phone because I need to be able to see the keys. No, you don't, dude. They're in the same spot. They've been in the same spot since 1963. Now, to be fair, the one exception I will say to that is, admittedly, I am terrible at this. When you have phone numbers that have letters in them, like, you know, I forget, like, I don't know, 1-800 WW Dell or something. I think that was an old Dell phone number or something. Um, I suck at T9. I don't remember what the keys are. I know ABC is 2, but later in the alphabet, I always have to kind of count and figure out what the numbers correspond to what. So that I kind of get. But like your perception, people's perception of blind and low vision people are either
Support.
superhuman like Daredevil, or you are completely incompetent. Like they, people have like, there was a thread on Twitter the other day where people were asking, what is the most offensive thing that you've ever been asked about your disability? And I've heard everything from, how do you use a computer? Okay, fair. If you're blind, or someone had posted, oh, how do you wipe yourself after going to the bathroom? Um, do you look at your butt to wipe yourself when you are done going to the bathroom? That's just a dumb question. I mean, really, not to get graphic, but I mean, that's such a weird question. It's like, nobody looks. What the heck? Um, People are amazed that you get up and you dress yourself. Oh, do you have to have someone set out your clothes in the morning? Or how do you get to work? Or, oh, wait, you can work? I literally, several years ago, I went down to my mailroom in my apartment complex to pick up a package. And one of the staff they said, oh, because I said, oh, I just got home from work. Oh, you work? Yeah, I work, and it's full time too. So, people just assume you have a disability, you sit at home all day, maybe you collect a government paycheck or a government check. Yes, a lot of people do that, but no, if given the chance, given the opportunity, a lot of us will try to work. I mean, it's a dignity thing, especially for me. Um, I do take a bit of pride in the fact that, as I said earlier, I live on my own. I have for years and years. I've got my education. I have a full-time job. I've had several full-time jobs, part-time jobs. I've volunteered. I do side consulting work, some volunteer, some paid. I've had many speaking engagements throughout the past several years. Um, and it's just, like I said, I don't draw attention to it. I don't brag about myself. I don't do it for clout. I don't do it for, hey, look at how cool I am. I have a disability. You should admire me. No, that's just as annoying. I just live my life like everybody else. And with it being both World Blindness Awareness Month and Disability Employment Awareness Month, if you are someone without a disability watching this, if you are an employer, you run a business, you're an HR, you're a manager, listen to people with disabilities. Consider people with disabilities. Again, we have a disability, but we're not incapable. We're not dumb. Consider people with disabilities for employment. Um, oftentimes I often tell people it's not fair. Life isn't fair, but we have to work twice, if not three times as hard to be thought half as good. And that sucks, but it's the sad reality sometimes. And so, if employers would just give us a chance, give us the opportunity, um, so a company who makes an accessible game, who makes an accessible app, who chooses to hire somebody with a disability, you will get loyalty, you will get dedication because, hey, most of the world either ignores us or, either ignores or makes fun of us or what have you. So the people who don't do that, the people who make an accessible app that we can use, the people who include us and it's like, oh, I can play this game, cool. Or, oh, I can get hired at this organization, I can get hired at this business, I can support my family, myself and my family, just like everybody else. You're going to have a dedicated employee. Treat them right, just like everybody else. And, you know, they're glad that someone gave them a chance. Again, one final cheap plug, another video in my Growing Up Illegally Cited series here, I talked about employment and I went through 3.5 years of living hell trying to get a job because people wouldn't hire me. I was applying for jobs 8 hours a day for 3.5 years. I was getting interviews. Despite getting the interviews, I was not getting hired. And you can only be told no so many times before you start to think that you are worthless. That can really wreck a person. That can mess somebody up. I'm pretty sure I was clinically depressed for a couple of years. And if you want to know more about that story, check out that video in the Growing Up Illegally Cited playlist. So I am going to wrap it up here. Again, I talked about phones.
Rewards.
I showed you some stuff on phones. I showed you some stuff on the computer. I showed you all of that different thing, some of the apps that people use. There are way more. But now I feel like I have a really good demo video, explanation video. People want to know how does a blind person use a computer? How do they use a smartphone? Are they even capable? Oh, somebody's got to be doing it for them. You're not blind. You're not visually impaired. I talked about the spectrum. Some people are totally blind. Some people have some light perception. Some people are able to read some text like I can. So those are just a lot of things to consider. So that will wrap up my 2024 edition anyway I'm just thinking I'm going to call it Blind and Low Vision Tech 101. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you found it helpful. You can follow me on Twitter/X at BGFH79 or just look up Illegally Cited. You can follow me on Twitch, although I haven't streamed there much lately, twitch.tv/illegally cited. Illegallycited.com is a very simple website that I created, and it lists a lot of my other projects that I'm working on and past interviews and podcast appearances and presentations. I also have a YouTube playlist of the different presentations and things like that I've done on video. I have a playlist on that as well, so you can follow me, I said, at on Twitter at BGFH79, or look up Illegally Cited, twitch.tv/illegally cited, illegally-cited.com, and of course, right here on YouTube as Illegally Cited. So until next time, I hope this was helpful, and if you're new, if you just discovered my channel through this video, I hope you were able to learn something, and hope it helped. And until next time, I will chat with everybody again later.